Hello and welcome to sim.bc, where it right now is 18:06 and this is like the third take, I think. Something along those lines. The third or the fourth take that I'm doing today because, well, I'm having something in my throat that just made me lose my voice halfway through and now it came back. It's very weird and unfortunate and crazy in a way. So hope that isn't going to happen now. But that might be why I might not be as high-pitched as usual and might not seem like I'm giving 100% of my energy at all times. Yes, just bear with me with that. And I think I mentioned that yesterday as well. However, today we're going to talk about the SNR, because sometimes you have a week that feels like it takes a month to get by, you know? Monday through Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Sometimes those 5 weeks, feels like a month each. When you're in the hospital, when you're working, when you're studying, when you're out in the field, wherever you might be. Sometimes it just feels like it takes the longest amount of time for the week to just pass by and for you to get to the weekend, that amazing Saturday and Sunday. However, for me, I've had the opposite effect. You see, I've had one of those weeks where it feels like the weekdays, the Monday through Friday, just ditched me and went away. They were taking the fastest car they could find, asking me to jump in, driving out on the highway, dropping me off, and then just boosting away, full torque ahead, and they just left me. Because I'm feeling like, wow, it's already Saturday again. But is that a bad thing that it is Saturday again? No, it's not. Because today it's time for everybody's favorite show, the SNR, the Saturday News Recap of week 11, I think it is. But we'll see in the editorial process. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Might be 12, but I think it's 11. And as per usual, I have 3 different pieces of news. Actually, I have more than that, but it's going to be 2 international ones, and 1 personal that is probably going to split up in many different parts about, well, what's happened in the channel, because there has been some considerable changes and some considerable milestones met over this last week, which might be why I feel, like it has gone by quite quickly. And whilst reading through the news, if we're getting into the first one, because I'm doing nothing but reading. I've been in the library, I've been in school, I've been working at my thesis, I've been working at actually researching all the videos for every day about the 7 deadly sins and what is evil. I've been looking through so much stuff, and simultaneously, when I take a break, I go to look at the different news pieces that I can find all throughout, Swedish media, to The Guardian, the New York Times, and BBC News. Looking all over, But today I felt like I found the perfect one. I actually found it like 2 or 3 days ago, but today I really felt like that is probably going to be the one. And what am I talking about? Well, I am talking about a news piece that we kind of have been covering before in a different SNR. So, the first news piece is about Google taking a stance. The multinational corporation that is Google, the big search engine that stands for what, like half of all the searches in the world or more, is taking a stance on cryptocurrency. And why is this funny? Why is this important? Why is this interesting? Well, because a couple of weeks back we were talking about Facebook doing kind of the same thing. And this can all be in relation to the, depending on how you view it, how you made money from it or how you lost money from it, but the community backlash, I would say, from the BitConnect and all of those things surrounding that haven't gotten the, as I perceived it, the best kind of PR, so to say, for cryptocurrencies overall, kind of dragging it down with it. And perhaps that is why Google is taking such a stance, saying that, well, when we're working with AdWords, when we're working with, advertising on Google and on our platforms, YouTube being one of them, we don't want cryptocurrencies to be one of the things that are advertised. Now, some people say that they're censoring out, cryptocurrency for the good of the consumer. Other people are saying that, well, they're actually just blocking it out. And some people even say that, well, there actually haven't been a finalized decision as of yet. So we actually don't know. However, I am of the belief that they are in the same vein as Facebook, and as I discussed about Facebook and about the case, that they're trying to, in some way or fashion, right, in some manner, kind of trying to protect their consumers. Just gonna see if I'm in focus here. Probably, yeah, because I'm doing this so many times now, so I've lost track of if I'm in focus or not. However, I think that Google is doing this because they want to protect. Wow, that was a lot of words. I think that Google is doing this because they want to protect their consumers from what cryptocurrency potentially can be and the potential risks that can come with it. The what can we say? The risky behavior of how it moves up and down, and so forth. It might not be the best thing that Google wants to advertise to their different viewers and to their different consumers. I'm just gonna, for the throat, so that we can actually keep going. But that was something that I thought was quite interesting, and kind of was in relation to the Facebook case that we were talking about a couple of weeks back. Simultaneously, as it looks like, as I'm perceiving it yet again, that Samsung, on the other hand, another multinational corporation that I support, as many of you do know, is still producing their new processor of actually mining Bitcoin, which basically means that they are positive towards this Bitcoin change, as some governments, I'd say not many, but some governments are as well, talking about introducing a substitute for real money in cryptocurrency. But still, these two multinational corporations who are kind of in the same industry in just the sense that they're online based, right? Google and Facebook, not that they're any, the same whatsoever really, but they're both in contact with social conventions and the spreading of open knowledge and spreading knowledge in the open communication. That they're taking such a stance on cryptocurrency might say a bit of the thing, a bit or two about cryptocurrency overall. Moving in then to the second part of the news, I'm seeing that I'm talking much slower than I were the other times, because at this point I was like 4 minutes in the other takes, and now I'm 7 minutes in or something along those lines. So the other piece of news, which isn't the most upbeat news whatsoever, it's actually kind of a tragic one, or it is a tragic one in a way, is that Stephen Hawking died, age 76, this week. Which is never fun, and this is one of those, why I'm covering it to begin with is because this is one of those celebrity deaths, so to say, or celebrity passings that actually have affected me. Otherwise, when I hear other celebrities, passing away, unless it's... And this is one of those celebrity passings that has kind of affected me, unless, you're talking about something tragic like Paul Walker passing away in the midst of the Fast and the Furious recordings and all of that, and takes of the movie. However, this is the first one that's actually affected me in what should we say, in a personal way. I didn't know him, right? I shouldn't say that I didn't. I doubt that many of you did. However, it was such an inspirational person, right? And such a lightning rod in the thunder for many people who have different kinds of disabilities, actually showing that, well, it doesn't matter if people are telling you that you're outside of society, if they're telling you that you're not going to live for that much longer. It's all about, it's not all about it, but a lot about it can be about a specific mindset, and he really showed that you can go a long way with just thinking in the right, in the right way. And I've heard some people saying that, well, you can't actually compare the average disabled person or the average undisabled person for that matter with Stephen Hawking, because Stephen Hawking was a genius simultaneously, right? So you can't actually draw that comparison in between them. But one thing that I thought was amazing about this character, about him as a person, was that he not only defined what the doctors told him when he was young, that you only have like what was it, 5-6 years to live, something along those lines, his expected life expectancy. He not only outlived that by like 50 years or something crazy like that. No, he did not only do that, he also was, as I said, an inspiration, actually showing that you can do so much more than what they tell you. You can actually be someone whose people are looking up to, even if people are saying that you're not a part of society anymore, and it's going to be really hard for you to be part of society as of with this disability. Really showing that, no, I can actually take the step towards being a part of society anyway. Something that I thought was a really inspiring message that I took away from him. Now, if that was his intent or not, that's up to him, obviously. But that was how I understood him. That was my take of him as a person, and you know, and I have no right to judge him as a person, right? But how I interpreted some of his actions made me feel like that he was a very inspirational person. And it's sad to see him passed, nonetheless. But it's very cool to see, on the other hand, and we should celebrate that he has lived for as long as he did. And yeah, I'm just rambling on and about, and I know that. It's just that it was such an inspirational person. And I'm not saying that about every celebrity that passes away, no matter how unfortunate. But Stephen Hawking was one of them. Actually, you know, as I said, spreading this message of, even if people say that you're outside of society, it's just a mindset, right? Actually showing that's just a mindset, and I can be a part of society anyway, which he was, in my opinion. So that's really cool. Anyway, trying to pick it up then in the ending here, as we go into some of the news that has happened to me this week, which has been a bit more on the positive side, or a lot more on the positive side, right? Which is that we hit 200 videos. Yay! And I would be so much more upbeat if it wasn't for the course, or for the sake that what we've just been discussing, right? Or what I've just been rambling about. And if it wasn't the case that my throat is still, you know, kind of damaged in some kind of way that I can't really understand yet. But we hit 200 videos this weekend in this kind of project about the daily upload schedule in the SimDub BC from day one, which is awesome. It's really amazing, and if you want to see more about that, I cover that in the video as of I think it was Wednesday, something along those lines, and it was a really amazing experience, and I was lost for words as usual when it comes to important things. I'm just standing there and can't say anything because in some way I'm thinking probably deep down that shows some form of respect to other people, and then I just start rambling instead, which is kind of what I'm doing now and kind of what I did then. But we reached 200 videos, which was an amazing feeling, really an amazing experience. Looking forward to 300, that's all I'm saying, right? It was really, really cool. Also opened up to some other friends about that the channel actually exists. They watched the 200 episodes, gave quite positive feedback, I'd say, or that's how I took it. So that's always good. Two thumbs fresh for you, mates. Always amazing to hear. Not that you should lie to me and say that it's good just because you should say it's good. If it's bad, then say it's bad, mates. That's probably better than just lying straight to my face, right? But it sounded genuine, so I'm taking it for what it is, right? Taking it at that face value. Sounded good, at least. So I'm really happy about that. I also changed the video setting on the DSLR. That's still quite new to me, right? This is just the second SNR that we're doing with the DSLR, and it seems to work out splendidly. What I actually changed was that I took it from 1080p 60 frames per second, or 50 frames per second, I think it is actually, down to 1080p 25 frames per second, which to those of you who are not technically inclined like I was, right? Now I've elevated myself, right? Now, to those of you who don't know what that actually means, it means that it takes 60 frames per second instead of 60 pictures per second, let's say, and now it takes 25 pictures per second, or at least that's how I understood it, right? And it actually affects the quality of the rendering process, especially of the editing process, a great deal, because previously, right, or at the last SNR, I think it was, or no, the day before the last SNR, was that it took me about 60 minutes to rendering a video that I made that was about this long, like 15 to 16 minutes. However, now I've slashed that time with like 75%, if not more. It takes like 12 minutes now, which is amazing. It's a really, really interesting change that has happened as of, an easy fix, I'd say, to just something that I changed quite recently. Just gonna see if I've covered everything from today. Yeah, when rendering, the computer does not feel and sound like it's going into hyperdrive and going to explode. Also kind of a positive thing, because it kind of did that, when the turbos or so forth went on in the system. That's not how you say it. I'm meaning the fans, right? The turbos. What am I talking about? When the fans are going in at 120 or 130% of the force that they can make, it actually sounded like my computer was going to fly away and explode. And now it doesn't do that anymore. So that's all fine, all dandy, all all good. Now, I know this might not have been the most offbeat, right, SNR, so just bear with me. We're going to continue that streak as of next week. And I know, no, we're not going to continue that streak. It's probably going to be a bit more on a cheerier note, yeah, cheerier note, and a bit more happy, upbeat thing next week. So we're not going to continue this downstream feels, let's say. And simultaneously, as I was talking about yesterday, 2 days ago, was that, well, I've been covering two very ambiguous and abstract concepts over the course of the 2 last days, and this is the 3rd day. The energy is kind of down low, but tomorrow we're actually going to kind of increase this, both if my voice allows it and because we're going to talk about that something that is quite interesting. I think we're going to talk about wrath, right? One of the 7 deadly sins, that is that wrath in relation to evil, which is probably going to be a bit more concrete than talking about lust, for instance, right? Or being a sloth in relation to evil. Doesn't really say that much, now does it? But anyway, mates, that was everything for me today. Hope you have a nice evening, a nice Saturday, or the rest that it's of it, you know, because now it's 6:30 or something along those lines. It's amazing now, isn't it? Or 6:20 at least. So, have a nice day, mates, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video. Have a nice one. See ya.